Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Built with Metal podcast. I'm Melanie Kowal, executive publisher of Metal Construction News and Metal Architecture. My guest on today's show is Ryan Lemmel, VP of Architectural Sales at MetalForming. Ryan, it is great to have you here today.
Thank you, Melanie. Great to be here.
Ryan, I actually had the chance to talk to some of your team, about 6-8 months ago, just before MetalCon last year. So it is great to be able to continue this conversation. For those who don't know you, can you start by telling us a little bit about your background and how you got into the metal construction industry?
Sure. So you talked to my colleagues right before I joined MetalForming. I joined MetalForming at MetalCon, so right around 6 or 7 months ago. Prior to that, I worked for a company, Cincinnati Incorporated, for over 15 years. They're a machine tool manufacturer, manufacture press brakes and lasers. Held a lot of different roles there, everything from field service technician all the way up to when I left, I was a business unit leader with profit and loss responsibilities. So lots of different opportunities, and that was my first stint in the fabrication industry and been there ever since.
So it sounds like you've worn many hats.
I did wear some of them at the same time.
I think we can all relate to that. So let's talk a little bit about metal forming. Before we get into some of the specifics, can you just sort of give us a quick snapshot of metal forming today and where your focus is right now?
Yeah, so MetalForming continues to support both the architectural and precision markets. So that's a interesting dynamic. On one hand, we have the strong demand from the infrastructure, reshoring, data centers. And on the other hand, we have shops that are facing pressure from rising cost and labor shortages. So it's an interesting dynamic. But at the end of the day, MetalForming is still here to support and support our customers and move forward. Rather they're expanding or they are adding new or they want to look at different challenges. That's in my internal focus. I've been focused on building a good sales team, a sales process, and keeping the sales team more consultative and less transactional. Right, the ones who win in this industry are the ones that can bridge the technical gap and still build that relationship.
I've met some of your sales team as well because you, or metal forming in general, is very active at a lot of shows. This year as well, the next one is FRSA, which is just around the corner. So let's talk about that a little bit. FRSA is in June. I know you have a presence there. What are you planning to showcase this year, and what should attendees look for at your booth?
All right, so FRSA, in one manner or the other, will promote and display all of our architectural offerings. Machine-wise, we'll have a Schechtel Max F folder. We'll have a Schroeder Power Bend architectural folder. We'll have a New Tech Machinery SSQ3 on a trailer in our booth, and we'll have a Schechtel handbrake and a little Vietsteel mock-up of an implant roll former, so lots of cool stuff.
And if I'm at FRSA and I want to come by, who should we be talking to?
Any one of us in our booth, we're all there. We're going to have, myself will be there. My business development manager, Chad Rowe, will be there. We'll have the regional sales guys and our applications teams, and you can invited to chat with us all.
And if you're a contractor, architect, who else are you inviting to stop by?
Sure, a contractor, architect, anyone that has, whether it's an immediate need or they want to network or they want to look at a particular process or see the latest technology, anyone with any interest, I really encourage you to stop by.
Now, recently, Metal Construction News, we published a story about your new partnership with New Tech Machinery. So let's spend a couple of minutes on that. This is one of the bigger updates I know for metal forming since I last spoke with your team, the new distribution partnership with New Tech. Can you walk us through what that means for your business, where it's at right now, and maybe what kind of opportunities this opens up?
Sure. Yep. New tech doesn't need an introduction. Sure, they're well established in North America, but it was great for mutually beneficial to both of us. Right, their products really pair well with our existing offerings, and it allows us to our roll forming portfolio to make it more complete. And being a stocking distributor, we have the machines ready. So if someone has an immediate need, and we have already have the service capability and technical background to really support the beginning of the transaction, after the transaction, and right, it just was a match that seemed to make a lot of sense.
And so it's really strengthened your position in the market.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we already had some roll forming options. Now it's a complete portfolio, so we can really make sure we customize the right solution for the right application, giving us access to the market.
Awesome. And with Vietsteel, I know the Vietsteel partnership is something that I had spoken to your team about. Again, just before MetalCon last year, I think it was fairly new back then. What's new since MetalCon last year?
Yeah, and that really completes the roll forming, right? We had our existing Schlebach line, added the new tech line, so we had the implant, the smaller implant and portable options, and Via Steel really allows us to complete that with the full implant, faster, higher efficiency. Someone that really producing a lot of panels, and they've been a great partner to work with. And roll forming in general is a stronger segment in the U.S. Right, a lot of the reshoring. There's a one report I read said that is estimated to be a $4 billion market going to 7.5 billion in the next 6 or 7 years. So there's a lot of growth in the roll forming industry.
So, with all of the partnerships, the new distribution, it really sounds like metal forming is a go-to from design to completion.
Right. Yeah, that's what we really strive with to be that one-stop shop, to be able to help in many different applications and pair you with the right solution. And it's all the sooner someone contacts us and we get involved, the more complete the package can be. And like I said earlier, being that consultative salesperson to make sure we are consultant, and we don't want this to be one transaction. It's a longer term relationship. So getting in from the beginning, here's my challenge, here's my need, working from that point, evaluating the different solutions, presenting those solutions, working through those solutions, and ultimately getting those solutions installed.
So, based on that, Ryan, what are some of the questions people come to you for when they look for metal forming and a salesperson answers the phone?
Oh, it can be a wide range of questions, right? Sometimes it's a job. Maybe their salesperson was a little ambitious and they quoted and sold it, and they may not have the capabilities or facing the challenges we have with the different costs. Maybe they want to take more control of their want to bring a product that they're currently buying in house, or they're looking at something that they do already make to make it in a different way, or to make more of it, or to make more of it faster.
So, they come to you with a very wide variety of problems that you guys are out there to help solve.
Certainly.
Now, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about market conditions, how they're affecting the metal building industry. I know last year when we talked about 2025 and tariffs, I feel like the word of the year was uncertainty. Now that we're moving through 2026, about halfway through 2026, how do you think that situation is changing and evolving?
It it did right after we figured it. We thought we had it all figured out. Right, there was some news, and the tariff situation changed again, and we're supposed to get our next update in July. And so there is still that level of uncertainty that no one really appreciates, and it does tend to slow things down. But this industry is a very resilient industry, and I last year gave us a playbook, right? So when when we get new tariff news, it's not gonna be the first time we're dealing with it. So I remain optimistic. I think most of us are ready to move on and continue to do what we do. So the uncertainty is still there, but I think we're prepared to plow through it.
How are you advising your customers to navigate it?
Really just focus on controlling what you can control. Understand some stuff's outside your control, and but realize there is a lot of stuff underneath your control, right? You may not know that you have the ability to bring something in house, but you probably do, right? Evaluate that, make sure you're using the modern technology to make sure you're building your parts as efficiently as you can. Maybe there's some time savings where you can make that all up. We're all looking at ways to be more efficient and make our products as effectively as possible and pass as little of that cost on as we can.
While we're on the topic of uncertainty in the marketplace, something else that's been very newsworthy lately has been the rising cost of oil. How is that impacting your operations and, just as importantly, your customers?
Right. It's another layer of that uncertainty, right? As the input costs change, it's something that affects, and it always slows us down for a moment, right? As, but like I said, this is a resilient industry. We still got roofs that need to be made. We're going to move forward, and but in some ways, I'm an optimistic type person, so I have to feel like there's demand getting pent up. You can't wait forever, right? We got to move forward, and I think that's where most of us are, is just learning to, I mean,
Learning to pivot.
yeah, learning to pivot.
And are you seeing changes then in pricing or even logistics?
Sure, right. Yeah, pricing definitely on transportation and logistics, and there are price increases, and in some lanes in some geographic areas, the lanes are scarce, harder to find. The quotes that you're getting for logistics the quotes are good for shorter period of time. All the above.
And beyond rising oil costs, I mean, what are you hearing from your customers right now? What challenges are you seeing coming up?
Yeah, besides it's the same. I think we've been dealing with for the past several years. Labor shortages continue to be another challenge that we're all dealing with, really, since COVID, right? We're like, where did everybody go? Like and that's really another reason when you're choosing an equipment supplier, you have to choose one that is not only going to put you into equipment, but it's going to be the right equipment and going to be able to support you throughout the whole process. Rather, you've got turnover in people and you need to train your people. You want to make sure that the equipment you get, you're able to run it, and the labor force and the skills that you have are able to run it. So that's all part of choosing the right supplier that can support you through the entire process.
So on the topic then of labor shortages, again, I know something else that's been, very newsworthy, especially in the last 6 to 8 months. What is Metal Forming doing to attract new employees and sort of address those labor shortages?
It really comes down to the machines and the products that we have, making sure that our applications team is able to train the new users how to use it, and then to set up the control in a way, right, on the one of the machines we'll have at FRSA. The power bend architectural actually has a AI engine in there, so when you put your part library in there, it can learn from the parts, and when you program a new part, it looks at those existing parts and helps you predict the right sequencing to make programming easier. And there's also some software solutions that you can use, right? Retaining that knowledge we have, right? And when we have our employees that have that tribal knowledge, how do we maintain that? So making sure that we can get those programs and those profiles stored in the controls. And that's another challenge and benefit of modern folders versus the older ones that didn't have that technology.
And so let's look ahead a little bit towards the future. We've spent a lot of time, I suppose, on the uncertainty of the metal industry right now and the construction situation with rising oil costs. When we look at the rest of the year, what are you watching more closely, and maybe where do you see some of the bigger opportunities?
Uh, yeah, I'm watching all the stuff above, right? I feel like something's got to change soon, right? We're going to get relief, and that demand I talked about being pent up, when that breaks open, that's going to be a lot of fun. The uh, the opportunities are going to be to those ones that are able to adapt despite the headwinds, that are able to adapt, or able to move forward and go get the market share that they want.
Is there anything that you're really excited about right now, either with metal forming as a company or in the industry overall, or maybe both?
Yeah, I'm excited. I love this industry since I've been here, like fabrication and actually being one of the careers where you see the product of your work, right? And it goes into real tangible on building. So I'm excited about all of it. I'm excited. I feel like demand, we're seeing some signs that it's starting to, the conditions are starting to improve, and I'm excited to see it improve and move on.
And Ryan, my last question for you today. If somebody is listening and would like to get in touch with you or the team, what is the best way to do that?
Metal forming in general, you can go to our website. I can be accessed via email, phone, text, Instagram, LinkedIn, and my username is my name, so I'm pretty easy to find.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on our show today, and thank you so much for being our guest.
Oh, thank you, Melanie.
Thanks for everyone listening to Built with Metal podcast. My name is Melanie Kowal. You can find this podcast on metalconstructionnews.com or where you find your favorite podcasts.